Start the recording. Let's see. Okay. I feel like we should be good. Is it? Yep. It's recording. Okay. So everybody, welcome to Future Boards. The main thing that you need is pen and paper. We're going to be doing a lot of reflecting before we do a lot of dreaming because it's just so critical to know where you're starting. And it really will help you map out where you want to go. So, what I'm going to start with is really explaining what exactly is a future board. So, a future board is a physical board. Um, I should have brought mine down. Mine are hanging actually in my laundry room because, truth be told, I feel like that's where I spend the most time, where you're able to multitask, right? Like it's very simple for me when I'm folding laundry to look up at my board and start to visualize. Also, there's nothing like when we're doing these tasks of that could be boredom or could be creating like, oh, I can't believe I gotta fold the whole family's laundry again or whatnot. To be looking at the future of things that I am manifesting and just kind of bringing there's so much great energy in that room, and that's part of the reason why it's not a like a ugh I gotta go do laundry. It is like that's my room to be like. It's also nobody else really goes in there. So in my laundry room are really great, my it's where my future boards are and whatnot. So anyway, it's actually your future board when you finish it is going to be an actual board or two. And the reason that it's not a vision board, although it'll look similar to you, is because they're actual visual pictures of what your life is going to look like in the next 3 to 5 years. So your board is going to be your future. We're going to create your future, and you're going to have a superpower as you create it. And so what I'm going to do, I am going to share my screen with you guys and interrupt me at any time because you may have questions, you may have thoughts, you may want to share a story of your own. And so just feel free to interrupt me at any time. Let's see. Sorry, as people are popping in here, I got to admit them. So thank you guys again all for coming. I am so grateful that you are here. Um, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of dig into whether you're a dreamer or a thinker. So for dreamers, and some of you are both. I am actually both. But some people are very specifically one or the other. And it's important to know that because knowing which you are, you'll be able to bring to mind certain things. And if you feel like you're starting to get blocked or something's hard for you, you may be able to go, oh, wait, of course that's happening because I'm a dreamer or I'm a thinker, right? So let me ask these questions. Hold on 1 second. Um, just going to mute everybody, but unmute yourself if you have anything to share. That'll be awesome. All right. So I'm going to ask you these questions. And if you answer yes to most of these, just kind of make a little note. If the answer is yes, on the top of your paper, just give yourself a tally mark. Okay. Do you often daydream? Were you a daydreamer as a child? Do you consider yourself artistic? And don't overthink these, just a little tally mark if the answer is yes. Do you see things in your mind in a vivid or visual way, like a movie in your head? Are you creative? Are you a risk taker? Does buying a lottery ticket give you a secret excitement, a twinge of hope, or just even an excuse to daydream about what you would do with all that money? Have you had a difficult time finding the right career path or finding your passion because so many things interest you at first glance? Does it excite you to try new things or visit new places? Do you often think that there must be more to life? Do you get excited about new big ideas? And did you always feel deep down that you're meant for something more? Okay, now just look at your tally marks and then write down how many um, you have. You don't have to tell me. I'm going to ask you another set of questions and then we're going to see which you have more of. Okay, same thing. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Write down a tally mark if your answer is yes. Do you like to make a plan before taking action? Do you thrive on structure? Do you tend to vet all possible outcomes before making a risky move or most decisions? Are you generally speaking pretty organized? Do you tend to research and then research some more? Do you only make goals you know can be accomplished? Do you have a hard time getting excited or taking action on something that's outside of your comfort zone? Do you think buying a lottery ticket is a waste of money? Do people in your life who dream big scare you a bit or make you anxious? Do you tend to make lists, spreadsheets, and plans? Is your schedule fairly predictable? Does trying new things and going new places scare you or give you anxiety? Does failure scare you? And are you budget conscious? So now add up all of those tallies. Here's what I want you to do. If there was a standout difference between those, the first category, I was actually asking you questions to discover if you're a dreamer. The second set of questions are you a thinker? So if your numbers are pretty matched, you're actually both, which is pretty fantastic. But if you have remarkably more of one or the other, I want you to type in the chat whether you're a dreamer or a thinker. Let's see kind of what we're dealing with for everybody. Help me know when we're chatting. Let's see. I think I have to stop sharing my screen so I can see the chat. Oh, nope, here it is. Okay. Crystal said both. Kristen's a dreamer. Let's see. What else did the rest of you have? A thinker. And while you guys are typing these, here's the pretty, here's the thing. Typically, a dreamer will come up with lots of great ideas and lots of dreams and dream really huge. They love to come up with the big visions. But what happens is oftentimes the dream can feel so overwhelming that before you know it, you've just stopped taking action. So Angie's a dreamer. So it's super easy for you to be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to go here and there. But then it's like, oh, and it becomes overwhelming and you don't do it. On the flip side, the thinker will literally analyze themselves out of taking action at all. You know why? They will Google every possible scenario until they have enough that like gives them permission not to take action. The thinker really is. They just, you know, they're the people who could create a pros and cons list and they're not going to stop until like the cons overpower it and they're like, oh good, I didn't want to do that anyway, that was a little bit scary, right? So understanding if you're a dreamer or a thinker is so important to what we are going to be doing. So just a rough quick kind of what I was just saying. Here's some pros and cons to being a dreamer. So of course you can see a big picture, lots of thrilling ideas, you get excited quickly, you see the great possibilities, and you know that you have great potential. Problem is sometimes the excitement dies as quickly as it started. They get easily overwhelmed and making a plan, can seem almost impossible. They don't love doing the work to make their dreams happen. They get a bad rap for not finishing what they start, and they can be a little ADD about their dreams. So I don't know if that hits home with any of our dreamers, but that's just kind of real life. Whereas the thinkers, they really think things through. These thinkers, they'd be great project managers. They understand how to make a plan, understand that the action and planning are needed to get things done. These are your systems creators, right? They're like, this is the system. We're going to follow it. It's going to be simple. Everybody do this. And they're able to execute a plan. Thinkers really love their to-do lists. But the negative thing is they have a hard time seeing the big picture when there's no evidence, if it's not right in front of them. They don't like spending time imagining things that don't exist and don't seem possible. Like I said, they over Google, they get stuck in their head overthinking, they get hung up on the budget. They can sometimes only see what's right in front of them. So, just again, right now, we're just creating an awareness because knowing really who you are is so, so critical to designing who you want to become, right? So, what we're going to do first is we're going to write your before story. And what that's going to look like is, who are you today? Let's make a detailed record of where you are in your life right now so that down the road you can see how far you've come. But also, this is going to help you see things that you may want to change, things that you aren't super excited about. So often in life, we're so busy in the day to day, hamster wheel of life and getting everything done, especially as females, doing all the things for all the people, that sometimes we just don't sit and take, into account, where are we? Have we made the strides that we've wanted to in the last 6 months, 12 months, even 3 months? So take a minute. You have your pen and paper. We're going to take just about 5 minutes right now and here's some questions that may jog, what you're going to write about. But where do you work? Do you like your job? Why or why not that you like your job? Do you like your home? Where do you live? Who lives with you? What do you do to recharge or de-stress? How do you feel mentally? And then also taking into an account, what's the main thing not working in your life right now? What people are in your life right now? Also, give some real consideration to what your financial situation is like. You're not going to have to share it with me, but it's real important for you to know where you start from and how are you physically? Because what's going to happen in our future board is we really are going to dig into your personal life, your career, your health, your passions. And so right now, just take about 5 minutes to write down what you can think of. And if you have questions, unmute and let me know. How is everybody doing? You guys need a few more minutes? I'm getting some yeses. Okay, take a few more minutes. Think too, if you haven't already, give some thought and pen to paper on how you mentally feel. Sad, depressed, happy. Write just a little bit about how you're feeling mentally. Okay, let's do about one more minute and then we'll move on. Okay. Some of you are still writing, and that's okay. You can keep writing. I'm just going to just let you know that sharing your before story is just, it's so wonderful, and opening your heart to it is a huge step in moving forward in what you're going to do. Because sometimes when you give breath and acknowledge where you are right now, that's when you're able to go, "Oh, I would like more. I want more. I am dreaming of more." Again, though, sometimes we just don't make the space for it, because I know so many of us are so busy taking care of other people. Um, but here's what I want to ask you. What if your life was different? What if you had everything in your power to make your life exactly what you wanted it to be, and you just needed a little bit of help knowing what to do and how to do it? That's what we're going to work on today. And oftentimes, as you move through this, you'll be able to go back in the future and look at your before story, and some things might have changed and some things might not have changed, but seeing that is so powerful. So let me just ask you, like, what if you could have your dream life? That question is often the beginning of the change for everything. And I just want you to have hope and give yourself room to breathe. Don't squash it. Give it time to work its magic. just those two words, what if, and apply those to your thoughts, beliefs in your life. Imagine, what if your life was everything you ever dreamed it could be? What if you had wealth and abundance and never worried about money? What if you had a body you loved and felt fit and healthy? What if you had relationships filled with joy, mutual respect, and happiness? What if you had a job you loved? What if you traveled the world? What if you were the person you dream you could be, living the life you dream of living? What then? Who would you be? What would that life look like? That's the $1,000,000 question. So I think as I maybe went through some of those scenarios, some of you may have heard some of those what ifs and said, oh, I already have that. And some of you might have gone, oh, I don't have that yet. Um, I do want that. And so we're going to really work on creating the big picture of the life in all areas that you want to live. Um, here's a little tip for you. If you're struggling here in this area, and you might be struggling if you're a thinker, um, make a list of positive what ifs. That, or the easiest way to make a list of positive what ifs is to think of everything you'd normally see in a negative light. For example, if you'd previously say, I can't start that business because what if it fails? Switch it to, what if the business I dream of starting is a huge success? Honestly, that's a far more interesting and relevant question. Think about it. What if that business is a bigger success than you can imagine from where you sit today? Then what? What the heck would you do? Do you have a plan for that? What would your growth strategy be? How much revenue would the business make at its optimum level of performance? Heck, what would your office look like? That business can't succeed as long as you're only asking the one dooming question, what if it fails? With each item on your list, see how many follow up questions you can ask to unpack what you'll do when that positive what if manifests. So, you know, hopefully that has started you thinking, what if? So, why is your dream so important? And it really is because your dream is tied to your happiness. Not only is it tied to your happiness, but it provides, and that's not to say you can't be happy where you are. That's not what I'm saying at all. But as you're moving towards the life that will bring you the most joy, your dream provides clarity of where you're going and why. Clarity creates desire, and desire fuels your hustle and creates relentless pursuit that ensures your dream will manifest, right? Like everybody wants to, not everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people think of this life of like, you know, what they could do if they had X amount of dollars, and so what we're going to dig in even bigger to is it's not about the money. So often in our society, we do make almost everything about the money, but we're going to kind of dig into why that's not important and how many things can come to fruition without money. So here's where we don't want to get hung up, and where oftentimes when people start dreaming big, they might get hung up. So, what job should I get, or what job should I do? How do I make more money? What's my passion? How do I get the relationship I want? We're not going to get hung up right now on the very specific of how we're going to make our dreams happen, because what I have watched happen through the years as I have coached people one-on-one basis, um, and we do a future boards, we do this process together when I'm coaching people one-on-one, but opportunities arise oftentimes where they least expect it. And we talk a lot about, well, they're like, can you believe this just happened? I'm like, no, absolutely I believe it, because we put it out into the world. Like we knew what you wanted. You wrote it down. You made a picture of it. You told the world what you wanted. And just because it came differently than you thought it should, it still came, right? So here are the 5 areas that we're going to focus on. So go ahead and write these down if you will, because we will dig more into them a little later. But the 5 categories, because again, this makes a very well-rounded life. Um, and that's what we want. We want well-rounded happiness, right? So passions and joys is one category. These are the things that just make you happy, bring you joy. Mind and body, um, relationships, career, and your financial situation. So just jot those 5 down for me, because you're going to have dreams in all of those different categories. Those will be the 5 different categories of pictures that are actually going to go on your future board. Has everybody got those 5? You need another minute. Trying to see if people are still looking down writing. Thank you, Katie, for giving me hand signals. You guys just give me a thumbs up when you're done. Okay. Looks like most people are done. So here are, type a 1 in the chat if you have ever heard anybody say any of these things, or you've thought these things. Rich people aren't happy. To get what you want, you have to sacrifice everything. Rich people are selfish. When you make it, you'll be alone and unhappy. When you're successful, you won't have time for family or do the things you love. Living an abundant and wealthy life makes you a bad person. I didn't type anything here, but there also often tends to be, for people raised very religiously, there sometimes in certain areas there or communities, it can be considered bad. Like to have a lot of money means that you're selfish and maybe you didn't give enough, or you know, you didn't share enough, or the meat. So Crystal says she was taught these when she was younger. Yeah, I think, I don't know how many of the people on this call, I think most are in the same company I am. And we are lucky to have a community of people showing us a different way, showing us some of the beautiful, wonderful, powerful ways to give and experience life when you have abundant wealth. So I feel like we're so very grateful. There's so lucky. There's so many times, jobs, communities, settings where it's looked down upon to be wealthy, which I feel like should be the opposite of it, but we'll get there. Um, so happiness needs to become your checklist for making decisions, for filtering opportunities, for allowing or not allowing people into your life. Um, for me now, and maybe it's because I'm 51 now, but if I meet somebody, or I'm trying to, I've moved 6 times in 7 years, so I continue to be put in environments where I have to make new friends, I have to get to know people. So I'll go out on a limb and go to networking events, or have lunch with somebody, or invite somebody to have lunch or dinner, and if I don't leave that interaction feeling happier or joyful or uplifted, I just don't see any reason to put any more energy into that. Not that I'm going to like be ugly or mean or anything like that, but it's like I got 4 kids in 4 different states and a husband and an autistic son. Like I don't have time to go have lunch with people that don't bring me joy. Um, and I think when we're young, maybe it's when we're younger, I don't know, but it was like quantity over quality. Like we just wanted to have a lot of friends and wanted to be invited to do lots of things to feel included. And now I'm like, I'm okay with just a few people because they make me so happy. I also learned, I used to live in an area and I had some friends that every time I would have lunch with them or hang out with them after school drop off or whatever, I would get filled in on all the drama and all the rumors and all the stuff. And then my husband would come home from work and he'd be like, "Oh, what's going on now?" And it took me a while to realize that wasn't healthy. It was not a healthy relationship. Not even the fact of, oh, probably they're talking about me and sharing my stories that I might have told in secret when they're with other people, but just I would be so filled with like, oh God. And that isn't healthy either. So really being careful. And part of it is really knowing, hey, what does bring me joy? What does make me happy? Because then you can design a life around it. Um, and you can stay focused on your core values. So think for a second, hush, think for a second. What do you want in your new life? Because your new life, it really can begin today. That's not to say like, hey, why don't you like pack up your house and move and leave your spouse and put a bunch of new clothes on your credit card. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about little shifts that are going to start to shift you into building the life that you want. And I promise we're going to get to the future board, but right now, hopefully you're starting in our first 30 minutes to realize why this is so different than just cutting pictures out of a magazine and saying, "Oh, that's what I want." Like, okay, that you know, the pictures in magazines are photoshopped and edited and whatever, and we're going to really create something that speaks to you. So what will you do for fun? What will you do for relaxation? What kind of vacations do you want to take? Who do you want to take vacations with? um what do you want? And it doesn't have to be a specific job or career path, but what do you want it to feel like? um I could very easily, you know, go get a job where I work 40, 50 hours a week and, have a solid income that I know I'm going to make, whatnot. But that doesn't, I'm grateful I don't have to do that. But also, one of the reasons I work so hard at in the company that we're in is because I don't ever want to have to go back to that. I really love if one of my kids says, "Hey, can you come into town and help with this?" I love saying yes and not having to ask off work. I love being able to just hop in the car, if my mom is sick and going to help. I don't ever want to have to be in a place. And so for me, when it's like, do I want to reach out to people to sell something? Do I want to put myself out there? Do I want to? And I'm like, no, but I really want what I want more is this life that I've created in my mind and in my life where I'm able to just, you know, have the time flexibility. So just kind of give some thought. What's that going to look like for you? And let's spend a few minutes writing down some what ifs. Um, what if I earned whatever the number is to you, X amount of dollars a year? What if I could travel to Greece with my family? What if, and I will say, let's not try to start manifesting what ifs. I could like be a sloth all day, but have millions of dollars. Like let's really try to think, hey, you know, Okay, take just 1 or 2 more minutes to come up with some what ifs. And if you haven't already, look at those 5 categories and try to have at least one what if that applies to each of those categories in relation to you living your dream life. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Struggling with this area or feeling really good before we move on? And I am sure your what if list will continue to grow. It absolutely will. Um, okay. This I'm going to come back to because I feel like it's very important. Don't let me forget to come back to the live list. I want to tackle something. Um, I want to tackle this first because I feel like this is there. I think there are 3 main blocks that prevent most people from achieving what to them would feel like a perfect, wonderful life. And one of the biggest ones is the broke mindset. So, thoughts or things that can be said that create a broke mindset. Money's the root of all evil. I think some people even think that's in the Bible. I don't think that it is. But there are some people that will act like that is scripture. Rich people are bad. More money, more problems. If I have lots of money, I'll lose friends or family. People only want you for your money. So here is, let me hold on 1 second. Um, okay. Uh, The thing is with the broke mindset, I had this. And a way to identify it really is it's the belief that you don't have and probably will never have, and I put in quote marks in my hands, enough money, or that getting money is hard. Um, who has heard or been told money doesn't grow on trees? Right? Money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, Captain Obvious, but really what the person was saying when they said that to you is it's hard to get money, right? It's not easy. Um, and you might be doing all the right things on a conscious level, like saying you want something, putting it out into the universe. But if your subconscious beliefs are producing the opposite, or subconsciously you believe something different, it's just never gonna come to fruition. So, for example, let's just I'll just say it this way. If you're raised without much money in a home where your parents believed and drilled into you that money or the lack thereof was the reason life was so hard, then it's probably difficult for you to have a positive relationship with money as an adult. If as a child you heard them say things like money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work hard just to get by, or we don't have money for that, rich people are bad or anything similar, those become your underlying beliefs about money. Um, and it's so true. And it sometimes, you know, I don't know if anybody's had that experience. I was raised for a long time by a single mom who worked 3 jobs, and it was just um all about, so Jennifer says, I tell my money doesn't grow on trees all the time. Right. Okay. So thank you, Jennifer, for sharing that, because what I want to share with you is something um that is happening, and it didn't start with you. It probably started with your parents and then their parents, and it, just this mentality of how difficult it is, how hard you have to work for money. Um and it's such a big block because your brain has a difficult time dreaming or wanting things that they can't afford, right? And something that is an easy shift of words, Jennifer, that I will share with you that I started doing with my kids, and I train people when they talk to their kids. Because in my experience with coaching people one on one, I've had a lot of people share with me how their kids will point to, let's just say you're traveling and they point to a really huge house. This is something that really happened in one of my coaching sessions. And her son was like, "Oh, I would love to have a huge house like that. Like, look how amazing that is, blah, blah, blah." And the mom said, the lady I was coaching said to her, "Well, you don't want a big house like that. It would be so much trouble and so much work and so hard to clean." And so what she was doing was teaching him not to dream of having a big house. And you may realize you may do this to your kids. It was probably done to you. This is why they say kids, like, we stopped dreaming as adults, and it's because every time we wanted something grand and big, our parents would tell us why we didn't want it. And I think what they were doing was trying to protect us from being let down, assuming we would never have a house that big. But what I pointed out to my friend is, I said, "Do you think," because I knew exactly the house they were talking about. We lived in the same neighborhood. And I said, "If your son bought that $12 million home, do you really think it would be he and his wife cleaning it?" No, no, 1 gazillion% not. If somebody has a big old huge house, do you know what they're not doing it? Cleaning it on Wednesday afternoons. Hey, hush. They have cleaning people. So telling your kids, that's like saying, you don't want that Ferrari. If it breaks down, it's going to cost a fortune to fix. Well, if you bought the Ferrari, you can afford to have it fixed. So I get what people are doing, but what's really happening is you are what I call bursting bubbles. That's what we call it in our family. Like, you come up with this big dream, and the realist pops all the dreams and finds all the reasons that that wouldn't be good. But really, what's happening is you are teaching a broke mindset. Something else that we do with our kids, which I suggest, it started with me. We had to do it for me, and then I passed it on to my kids. But this is a way, the reason I'm sharing this is a way to get past the broke mindset. One of the ways is to come up, like, if there's something you really want, don't say, "Oh, I could never have that." Do some research, find out, okay, how much does that actually cost? Okay, what would I have to do to get that? You know, how many people would I have to talk to grow and turn into leaders to help whatever it is that you do to earn the money to get that thing? And that's if money is required to get it. Um, Sometimes we can have really amazing experiences without any money. And I know that if you spend time thinking about it, You can think of some. But the biggest thing I learned, so I think when I was becoming certified to be a life coach, my biggest issue was money. It was the only thing my husband and I ever fought about. And we would fight. In my mind, what was happening is he was raised wealthy, I was raised poor. He would always say we don't have any money. And I would look at the bank account and go, I think we have a lot of money. And he would say, no, we don't have any money, but I've already moved it to this account, which means you can't touch it. And I'd be like, why, why is it there? Like, what's it waiting for? And we would just kind of have these battles, but he would always say, and a lot of times he would say it joking. So every Saturday we would sit down to balance the checkbook, and you would hear him in the room going, we don't have any money. He'd literally be yelling at me in the other room. We don't have any money. Stop spending money. We don't have any money. And in my head, I'm like, we have so much money. But to him, what was relative, we were coming from totally different places. So what he was saying was true, what I thought was true. But what I realized when I got coached and was taught is one of the biggest tips is to stop talking about money. So she said the first thing that needs to happen is your husband has to stop saying, we don't have any money. Because what is happening is he is putting that into the atmosphere and he is focusing on that and he is making that become true. Not meaning we were going to like be evicted and not have any money, but we were not growing in wealth. Our wealth wasn't growing. So she said, first of all, just stop saying that. Because you're focused on that. And we were like, I was focused on every Friday night, I'd be like, oh, he's going to start doing that again tomorrow. But it was being pounded into my head. It didn't mean that I was better about spending, but we got there. We worked through it all, but through this. So here's a number one tip: stop talking about money. Have you ever noticed how broke people always talk about money? Either they're talking about how broke they are, complaining about how things are too expensive and how they can't afford things, or trash talking people who have money, or constantly stressing about their bills and checking their bank account 10 times a day. If this is you, just knock it off. The more you talk about anything, the bigger it gets, good or bad. So if you're complaining about not having money, the only result you will ever receive is less money. The universe delivers what you focus on. Please take a minute and let this be a light bulb moment for you. If all day long you're focusing on how little money you have, then common sense says less money is on its way. And I'm willing to bet that's not the outcome you're after. The fastest way to improve your financial situation and change a broke mindset is to stop talking about money. Does that ring true with anybody? When's the last time you hung out with somebody really wealthy and they talked about money? They actually don't. You know who talks about money? Broke people, you know? And my mom is a great example. When we lived in Fort Lauderdale, we took her on a boat ride down the intercoastal, and there's all these 10, 20, $30 million homes on the intercoastal in Fort Lauderdale. And she kept saying over and over, I can't believe they would spend so much money on a house, that's such a waste of money, blah, blah, blah. Nobody needs a house that big. They should do good things. And I kept saying, I'm willing to bet their accountant, whether they want to be doing good things with their money or not, their accountant is making sure their charitable giving is up high. Some people, lots of people just give because that's what feels right to them. But the really wealthy, they have to give money away so that they don't pay $4 gajillion in taxes, whether that's right or wrong. Somebody that lives in a $30 million home gives a lot of money somewhere, most likely. Right. But my mom is so judgmental about rich people. She was judging how they were spending their money. And I'm like, Lord of mercy, like, listen, lady, if I have $4 billion and I decide to spend 30 million on a home, like, just come enjoy the view, right? Like, but have you ever, I share that because have you ever found yourself doing that yourself? Like, what kind of person spends that much money on that? The kind of person probably I think they're the people in the middle, right? Who are like can't afford something and so they're putting it on credit cards. That's really not what I'm talking about. It's just let's stop judging people for their money and let's in our minds, if it pops into your head, I can't afford that. Pause and kick it back. I call it mental tennis. Kick it back and go, what if I could? Or, what would I have to do to afford that? We are in, like I said, I think most of us, a beautiful industry that we have examples all around us of people that show us really almost unlimited income of what they are able to achieve, you know, and so how bad do we want it? And that's where our vision is going to come into. Um, I want you to, we're not going to take a ton of time doing this right now, but we are going to create 5 power mottos about money. So here's some examples because here I want you to have good money thoughts, right? So here are some examples. I am worthy and ready to receive financial abundance. I'm going to pause there and share one tiny tidbit because the power of words is really huge. And one of the roadblocks I had in my mind is that my husband kept telling me, stop spending money. We need to save money. In my mind, save became a very negative word. I felt like I was being punished. I didn't feel like a 45-year-old that made good money and could spend it. I felt like I was all like, you need to save your money. Um, Jennifer, the first one I shared was I am worthy and ready to receive financial abundance. I am worthy and ready to receive financial abundance. So that is what prompted me to remember that I hate the word save. It felt like my husband was kind of like slapping me on the back of the hand, which he wasn't. Um, he's actually a remarkable, amazing man. But what my coach, what Sarah Centrella recommended I do is have him and also me, we removed the word save from our vocabulary. And so what he would say on Saturday instead was, what can we do to build more abundance? What can we do to build more wealth? Is that the same as, hey, can we save money? Yeah, it is. The definition of those two statements is pretty much the same. But I had a real aversion when he would say, we need to save money. I'd be like, screw you, I work too hard to save. But when he would say, hey, let's work on building wealth. Let's work on building abundance so that we can get some of those things on your future board. Well, then all of a sudden that was like, oh, maybe I don't need 10 new nail polishes from Target. Maybe I will put that money and just leave it alone. So another thought around money that's a great money motto is I deserve and am receiving success and prosperity. I deserve and am receiving success and prosperity. Number 3, wealth and abundance are my reward for all this hustle. It's already in progress. Wealth and abundance are my reward for all this hustle. It's already in progress. And another one is there is always more than enough money and prosperity for me. last is there is always more than enough money and prosperity for me. There is always more than enough money and prosperity for me. So another way to really, and again, the reason we're going through these, you guys, is because it is really hard for you to dream big if in your mind, subconsciously, you are continuing to think that you can't afford something or that you'd never be able to do it. Number 2, Marlon, hold on. I deserve and am receiving success and prosperity. I'll go through them all one more time just in case. Number 1, I am worthy and ready to receive financial abundance. Number 2, I deserve and am receiving success and prosperity. Number 3, wealth and abundance are my reward for all this hustle. It's already in progress. And number 4, there is always more than enough money and prosperity for me. Is that good? Okay. So another thing that's really important as we move forward, it's going to be really important for you to separate money from your dreams. Sounds a little bananas, I know, because in your mind, everything that you really want, for the most part, costs money. But you have to realize that you have to have the dream of something long before you have the money to do any of this. And so removing the money equation is going to become really, really important. And you would be shocked at the things that once you put them out into the universe and you're visualizing them and you're saying, letting the world know, hey, I really want this, you'll be amazed at the things that come to you, that come up as opportunities without any cost. Many of the things that are on my first future board that I did that all came true without me actually spending any money, which is crazy. Either I'd be invited on an event, right? Invited on to do something or included in something. The most recent thing I can think of is um, the past 2 leaders retreats ago on the cruise when to Haiti. I took my youngest son on that, and I was on the cruise. And when it ended, I told my husband, and I said, I would love to take all of our kids on a cruise. That was my first cruise. I didn't think I would really like it, but it was free. So I went, whatever. And I loved it. And I kept thinking how remarkable this would be for all of our family because there's so much for so many people of different ages to do. And that was just less than a year ago that we did that. And I told him a few times, and he kept reminding me, of course, we don't have the money for that. Like, we now have, I say we have 5 kids because I have a daughter-in-law, but there's no way we could ever afford to do anything like that. And I was like, yeah, it just would be so cool. And I kept thinking of how cool it would be for our entire family to go on a cruise. Well, lo and behold, his real father, who really has never done much with us at all, gets together with the other grandparents, so my parents, and then my husband's mom and stepdad, reaches out to all of them and says, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we took all of the kids and grandkids on a cruise? So in December for Christmas, which is the most expensive time to go on a cruise, I think, from December 22nd to 29th, our 15 of us are going to be on a cruise together. And you know how much I paid for that? Nothing. Like, I got to buy my drink package, but each grandparent set is paying $13,000 each for me to go on a cruise with all of my kids, you guys. So that is the critical importance of like, don't not put things on your board because you think I'll never have the money for that. Take money out of the equation 100%. I just have some bullet points there of other things to think about, you know, the money. If these things pop into your head, then we just need to reverse them. For instance, the third bullet on there, money's hard to come by. What if you just change the word hard to easy? Money is easy to come by. We're just shifting some words, and that will change everything for you. Like, money is for paying bills. Well, yeah, but what else? What if I had, again, what if I had enough money to pay all the bills and take my entire family on a cruise? We're just dreaming, y'all. We're just dreaming. One thing I like to share with people that I go to church with often is I don't think God wants you just to pray, just to have enough money to pay the bills this week. I feel like that's exhausting to every week have to pray just for enough money to pay the bills that week. I think we should have, God wants us to have joy. He put man here to have joy, and it is not joyful to not know how you're going to pay your bills in 3 weeks, right? So what if instead of I need to work hard to get money, what if it switched to I love how I earn money? I love how I earn money. No matter how hard I work, I don't have enough. What if I have more than enough? Again, we're getting your mind away from just the money issues. So if you do have fears, we're not going to spend any more time on that, but maybe write this down so that you can go back to it later. Letting go of limiting beliefs. So write down every fear or limiting belief or negative thought and stress about money, and do kind of like what I just did. Rewrite it into a powerful thought, and catch yourself. Words have energy. You have energy. So if you read something and you realize it's almost taking your breath away, like for me, the word save, still the word save, my husband is not allowed to use it. It almost takes my breath away. And it has to do with childhood trauma. I'm certain of it, or early marriage trauma. I don't know. But that word, I'm like, so if you realize you're writing something and you'll feel it zap your energy. What I want you to do is remove that word from your vocabulary. I promise, get a thesaurus, there is another word that can be used in its place. And whoever your closest people are, share that with them and ask them to do the same. My friends would laugh and joke at when I was going through getting certified as a coach when we were doing this, because they knew Rob and I always had heated discussions about money. And the joke always was like, how's your building wealth going this week, Christy? Like, but you know what that did? That empowered me. You know what? My friends know that I am trying to build wealth. They might chuckle about it, but honestly, I would rather have my friends knowing and bringing about and speaking into existence that Christy Barkley's trying to build wealth. You know what? That's way better than one of your friends seeing you with a new purse and going, could you afford that? What do you mean, could I afford this? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel the difference? Like, surround yourself with people who are cheering you on while you are trying to build abundant wealth. So again, just to kind of recap, we're going to stop talking about money. We're going to separate the dream from the money. We're going to change your thinking. We're going to rewrite your money story. If you need to take a picture of this, take a picture of it, because these are things that are going to be really important. Your money mottos and guided meditation practice. You're going to think this is a little, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll think this is fantastic and you already do meditation, but you don't do it like this. I'm not great at meditation yet, but you know what I can do? And I started doing it when I was getting coached, and it's a beautiful practice. Just go to YouTube and put in the search bar abundant meditation or meditation for abundance. And listen, I've never yet gotten to the point where I can lay there and meditate and clear my mind of all thoughts. I'm not that kind of meditator. What I can do is take 5 minutes in the beginning of my day or turn this on as I'm going to sleep and fall asleep to it. But listen to this guided meditation, and they will say things, do abundance meditations, and they say these things, and you're supposed to repeat after them. I usually fall asleep to it. But what it's doing is it's putting into your brain these subconscious thoughts about having abundance. Because what we're doing here is we are retraining your brain to try to break a lot of habits, a lot of negative habits that are preventing you from reaching your dreams. So again, that third bullet should probably say feel, but it says fee. It should make you feel powerful and empowered. So you're going to create your a power motto for every limiting belief that you have. And that could be, you might have some people who I know well on this call may have a limiting belief that they could never be a top earner in our company. Phrase it however you want. Now, rewrite it. And what you're going to do is you're going to say your power mottos, and that one might be, I am a top earner in my company. And you're going to have your power mottos, and what they're going to do is they're going to retrain your brain. You're going to say them 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night. Another little trick that I have found, I think I want each of you to take a second, and I'm not going to know who the human is, but type in the chat the name of the person who is your biggest cheerleader. Like if you came to them and you were like, you know what? I think that I'm going to start a shaved ice company in Alaska. This person believes so much in you and your power to do amazing things that they are going to be like, you're going to be the best shaved ice person on the planet. Type that person's name in the chat. Who is your person? Mine is my Aunt Mare. Her name's actually Marilyn, but we call her Aunt Mare. So mine is Aunt Mare. Kristen's typed hers. Who else? I would love for each of you to type in the chat who your person is. If you haven't typed it in the chat, at least write it on your paper. Melanie, Rachel, Devin. Okay, so here's why this step is crucial, Mom. So this person is your biggest cheerleader. You legit know if you call them again with whatever wackadoodle idea you have, unless it's real wackadoodle, they're going to cheer you on. They're going to figure out a way to support you. They're going to be your first customer, and they're going to bring customers. They're going to shout you from the rooftops. Now, you also have a person in your life who maybe often makes you feel like a disappointment, maybe who doesn't make you feel great about yourself, maybe who isn't your biggest cheerleader. I want you to recognize who that person is. You don't have to type them in the chat, but you could write them on your piece of paper. And mine is my mom, who loves and adores me, but is just really judgmental and can say very hateful, negative things. Not because she's a bad person, it's just her mindset, the way things think. So When I first really tried to change my belief system and when I saw it really start to work is when, so maybe on this call so far, you've had something pop up where you dream of, what if this? And there's something in your head that's like, you could never have that. Assign that to the person who's usually your negative person. I promise it won't ruin your relationship with them. This has actually helped my relationship with my mom. So when that pops up, here's what you do. So, man, you'll never be able to do that, or you don't deserve that, or, you know, why would you ever need that? Nobody needs that much money, whatever it is. Like if you're like, do you know diamonds make X thousands of dollars a month? And if that person would be like, why would you ever need that much money? That person, that voice, give it a name if it's not somebody that you know. So mine was my mom. So whenever it would pop into my head, the judgmental, who needs a house that big? When I would look at a beautiful house, I would go, you know what, mom? In my head or out loud if I was driving by myself, you know what, mom? Thanks for your opinion. Aunt Mare, what do you think? And you know what Aunt Mare would say? I bet you would decorate that house beautifully. I bet you would host amazing parties. I bet it would be so gorgeous, but homey inside. You feel the difference in me looking at a beautiful home and being like, I would love to have that home. You could spend that money on so much more worthwhile, or you would decorate that beautifully. So, what I do still to this day, but not, I don't have to do it near as often because my brain has learned. But when those negative thoughts pop up, which they will as we're moving into this huge dreamland that we're creating for you, you have to be able to say either out loud in your mind, thanks for your thought, mom, but Aunt Mare, what do you think? Devin, what do you think? Mom, what do you think? Melanie, what do you think? And allow, you'll hear their voice. Like I 100% can hear my Aunt Marilyn saying, oh, honey, you would decorate that house so beautiful. I can't wait to visit you. Like I can hear her. And if you're being honest, you can hear your biggest cheerleader if you ask them to comment in your brain. Have that person always ready. Sometimes you may actually have to call them and be like, I need you to talk me off the ledge. But oftentimes it's as simple as being at a stoplight and saying, what would Devin tell me to do right now? I wonder what Melanie would do. Okay. Keep those people handy. You have to know where they are. So the meditation practice, again, you can find a guided meditation practice on YouTube. Here are, if you want to take a picture of these, some other wealth building mottos. I'll let you take a picture. Try to move much faster to your actually building your board. Everybody good there? You took your pictures? Okay, here's another block. And I'm not worthy mindset. Um, the other one was broke. This one is that you're not worthy. Somebody oftentimes has convinced you that you don't deserve it, that no matter what you do, you're not worthy of it. And it's a horrible place to be. And you may even say, I'm over it, but it still might be self-sabotaging you without you realizing it. So unworthiness just really shows up. And it might have you believing that you don't deserve an abundant life with fabulous wealth and love. And you might believe that people love and leave you. You know, you may struggle with jealousy, possessiveness, nagging. But this kills dreams. Believing that you're not worthy, it often shows up in fear. See if this hits home for any of you. Unworthiness also shows up in the form of fear. When things are going well and you're starting to get what you want, what emotion often rears its ugly head? Fear. It may take the form of a lump in the pit of your stomach or anxiety or stress. If those emotions ever pop up when you're happy or when things are going well, you need to recognize them for what they truly are: self-sabotaging blockers to keep you from something you want. And that anxiety, that's the fear of things that haven't happened yet. I remember coaching somebody, who had gone up a few ranks in our company, and she said to me, "I don't really think I want to be at Jewel." And I said, "Well, why not?" And she said, "I just feel like it looks like you work a lot. And I don't think I want to work as hard as you do." And I was like, that was her fear. We worked through it, but that was her fear of thinking she wasn't going to be able to do it. Whatever she thought I did, of course she would do it different. But those unworthy thoughts of, am I actually worthy to do that, or to be that, or to travel there, or to fly first class, or whatever it is? Maybe you're like, I'm not like those people. Like what people? Like, you know what I mean? They're all just, they all just woke up and, went to the bathroom, same as you did. So Marlon said, the higher I climb, the longer down I have to fall. And you know what I would say to that, Marlon? And I'm sure you yourself have come up with great things to combat that, because you were really fantastic. But that's such an interesting thought that I've never thought of or heard. But in my mind, and I share this with people all the time, because I've been through a lot of trauma, a lot of trials, a lot of medical trials in my life, out the wazoo. And what I always say is, I think I've been allowed to make it up this mountain so that I can help other people up. You know who's not helping people up the mountain? The person standing at the bottom of the mountain. The person who has already climbed the mountain or is halfway up the mountain can help people get to where they are. And so when you think of that mountain you have to climb, or the journey, the climb, and the falling down, also, you know what happens if you fall down? You learn how to bandage up the scraped knees, put hydrogen peroxide where it goes on your fillings, and go again and climb again. You know, um, do you know who, again, speaking in the context of our network marketing company, do you know who can't empathize with you about making it to a certain rank and then falling down and having to build again because people left your team? The person who never had that happen. Like, shout out, amazing, remarkable to the people that make it to the top of our company in 6 months. They haven't had near the trials and experience I have, that I can share with other people, you know, through the journey. Angie says the climb will be easier the second time because you've done it before. 1 gazillion%. 1 gazillion%. I'm jogging a lot these days, and I've gotten to where on my long runs, I just go for 2 hours. And my goal right now is to go longer within my 2 hours each time. Do you know why it's easier every weekend? Because I did it. I already know what it feels like. I already know at mile 8, I'm going to want to quit. I know at mile 5, I got to go to the bathroom, right? It's easier because you've done it. Anybody else have any thoughts around that? I'm not worthy can also show up as procrastination, repeating old destructive behaviors. How many of you have started a really good system? Maybe if you took certain actions in your business, you would earn more money. And you maybe take those actions for 4 days, and you're not a diamond yet. And so then you don't take them for another 14 days. Anybody ever done that? That's repeating old destructive behaviors. So you have 4 days, you sign somebody, you're great, and then you're like, I'll take a little time off. You make excuses. of why you can't get things done, because that just feels better. Um, Angie says, I have all the not worthy thoughts. Yeah, that's there. It's not uncommon. It actually is so common. And fear can show up in that not worthy. Again, we just talked about that, but you could think it's just not right for me. It's just not the right time, or I'm not ready yet. Someone else can do it better. Or again, what if I fail? Yep. What if? What if? What if you actually succeed? What would that look like? Even if you've already failed a few times. What if for the last 5 conventions you went to and you were like, I'm going to be a jewel and walk the stage at the next one, and then you didn't? What if this year is different? See, too often we let those thoughts of like, well, I've already failed 5 times. I'm not even going to try anymore. What if this year is different? What if 2024 and leading into 2025 is like a repeat of the COVID times when all of your businesses blew up and it was amazing? What if? We don't know. What if? It could be amazing. Doubt can show up, like it's too good to be true, or I can't. Always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Nothing good ever happens to me. People like me don't get that. One of my favorite things to object to is when people tell me they can't reach the top of our company because they haven't lost all the weight. And I would like to say, have you watched the video of all the diamonds walking across the stage? Because there is every single shape and size and sex and culture that walks across that stage as the top of our company. Didn't have anything to do with the size of your body. That is just your excuse of like, oh, I'm not good enough to do that yet. I need to lose 40 pounds, and then everybody will join my team and I'll be a diamond. You can do it now. You can do it right now. You are worthy. Um, does this hit home with anybody? Anybody struggle with self-confidence? No one will take me serious. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. Everyone's talking about me and waiting for me to fail. That right there is where your biggest cheerleader comes into play, because they're going to tell you how amazing you are. I don't know enough. I don't have enough experience, always trying to prove your worth. So we're going to remove the unworthy mindset. First of all, we're just not going to engage in those thoughts. We're going to change the subject in your brain. That's that mental tennis I was telling you about. Write everything that you're worthy of, everything you want, everything you deserve. That's a whole part of this process, is realizing you're worthy of. Listen, I'm a firm believer. Um, and call it what you want. I call it God, you call it universe, whatever, that God would not have put a dream on your heart if he didn't give you everything in you already, or the experiences that you're on your journey to achieve that dream. He does not put dreams on your heart and desires on your heart to just make you feel bad about yourself. That's not the purpose. It is to help you reach your greatest potential, is what those dreams are doing and what they're for. And that's why they're there. This is our last mindset block that is really, really critical. This is really common. I don't need anything big or fancy. My dreams are simple. I'm fine with that. That fancy stuff is not for me, or living an abundant life is sinful. Listen, you don't have to want to have an abundant life so that you can buy all the $15,000 purses in the world. But every one of you on this call knows what you could do. Sorry, I must be getting mail delivered. My guard dogs. Um, it's okay to want great things for yourself. It really is. It's okay to spend extra on a wonderful pair of shoes. One thing that I've learned is shoes that I've spent $200 on last oftentimes way more than a pair of shoes I picked up from Payless for $30 to wear one time. Oh, they're uncomfortable and they crimp your toes and they like it's okay to have nice things. That doesn't make you a bad person. Now don't go running up a bunch of credit card debt. Not saying that, but if you can and you want it, go have it. You know? Like travel wherever you want, however you want. Like you deserve those things. So just a couple of these things with low key martyr. They're afraid they really do want it. And some people just hold shame in that. And my hope is that you don't. Yes, Crystal, abundance can help so many. Our outreach, our circle, our influence can be used so much. I say this and it offends some people, I think, but if you have earned a lot of money and you are doing good with it, you have so much influence. Listen, the person barely getting by, barely able, like paying their bills weekly because they can't afford to pay them all at the beginning of the month, they have very little influence. There's not a lot of people going to them for advice or suggestions. And I'm not saying you have to be rich to be influential, but you need to be more than just barely scraping by. The more that you have shown that you've earned, listen, having abundant wealth, unless you were just born into it, the self-made wealthy, the hustlers, the ones that have worked hard to do it, those are people to look up to. They have great influence because they're going to help other people again up the mountain. Coming from, I'm the only one in my family, except for now my brother, but all my cousins, anyway, the only one to go to college, the only one, of course, then to get a master's degree, the only one, like, I've broken a lot of generational cycles. And it's beautiful to watch because I can talk to people and go, I know what it's like to be on welfare. I do know that. I know what that's like. And you don't have to stay there, right? Don't be afraid to be disappointed. You might fall down the freaking mountain and then you might get back up and you might see three people that fell with you and you might look at them and go, let's go again. Right? Let's go again. If anybody's familiar with the Tour de France, the bike race, those people crash their bikes. They're the best bicycle racers on the planet and they crash. And you know what happens? They get back up and they keep riding. They don't quit. They don't quit. They don't have quit in them. So don't be worried about people approving of you. Just be amazing. So let's start thinking about the future. So in 5 years in the future, what's work like? Who is in this new dream life with you? What brings you joy? How do you spend your money? How has financial abundance changed your life? And what can you do in this new life? So take a picture of this because I'm about to go back a few slides because we're going to dig next into, let me open it up. Does anybody have questions, thoughts, feelings they want to share up to this point about things that have maybe blocked them from dreaming big or experiences they've had with maybe self-sabotage, anything that we've covered so far? I would love to hear from any of you guys about any experiences up to this point.
I will, since it's all quiet, I'll hop in.
Thank you. I was just about to call you out. I was like, Marlon, you always have something to share.
So I think that, for me, it's definitely that, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can sustain this. So I'm doing really good. And I think I might actually, have what it takes. And then it's like, but can I sustain it? So then what's going to happen isn't, so I think that I don't say the words out loud, but I think that in the back of my mind, without putting word to it, it's kind of like, well, wouldn't it just wouldn't hurt so much, or it wouldn't be as obvious. I mean, I went from my highest being 300 points to not clearing 100 right now. So
Mhm,
I am at the bottom of that mountain again. I am at the
mhm.
bottom of that. And just to let you guys know that the person that said that to me is somebody who has wealth. The person that said to me, well, the higher you, or it was more like, well, the higher up you live, if you get used to living up here, then you can fall so much further down. So it was kind of that thing. Yes, I have wealth, but I live really frugal. So
Mhm.
so it was kind of like a little bit more behind that. But so yeah, so I think that that is something that I definitely feel today, and realize I really have to work with that. I really have to work on that. So thank you.
Well, yeah, and I think the real thing there is where you had said I hadn't really put words to it, but you knew you were feeling it. And by taking the time to put words to it, that's where you can reframe it and rewrite it. Like when you said that, I don't know if I can sustain this. In my mind, the first thought that came to me was you get stronger over time, right? Like yesterday I ran 11 and a half miles. Well, I didn't go out 3 months ago and run 11 and a half miles. I went out and I ran 3 and then 4. And it's the same in our business. You learn things, there it's just no matter what you're doing, you will get stronger in your mindset, in your habits, in everything that you can sustain it. And then something might happen, you know, a leader may leave, whatever, where your points fall down. That happens. But then you go, okay, all right, let's do this, and you have the strength and the skill set, and you learn and grow through everything. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else have anything that they want to share? Angie and Gina shared where their negative thoughts come from. Anybody else have anything? I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, let's go to, you guys ready to start thinking about, let me see, you got this, right? You guys all took a picture of 5 years in the future, because after this call, you're all going to write a letter to yourself 5 years in the future. It's going to be like a journal entry. In case I forget to tell you at the end of this call, what I want you to do later is write a journal entry that's dated 5 years in the future. And you're going to talk about what all aspects of your life are like. But as we get ready to come up with the pictures for your future board, here's where you're going to do this is so far back. Sorry, guys. This is your live list. And again, we won't finish this on the call. You will start it, and then I will show you how to start finding pictures that match it specifically. But I would love for you to take a few minutes. Now look at the qualifications, no goals. So your live list is not going to say I'm a diamond, right? It could say, I fly first class to Hawaii and stay at a fancy resort for 9 days. Because you know who does that? Diamonds, right? You could, so do you see what I'm saying? We're putting things on here that are experiences. They're also things, I don't want you to put something on here that if you really got out of your own way, you could do right now. Right? So if you could actually afford it, but you're just choosing not to do it, or your partner is choosing for you guys not to do it, don't put that on there, because you could actually get out of your own way and be like, you know what? We're going to take that trip. Something you could put on here, because who knows where Emerald Extravaganza is next year? It's a cruise to Alaska. So One of your live list items could be, I'm going on a cruise to Alaska next September 2025. Right? Experiences. It could be, um, I feed giraffes while I'm on vacation in Africa. Really get creative here, right? It could be, I drive a Maserati. It could literally be anything. Also, try to come up with at least one thing for each of your 5 categories. Sorry to interrupt you. All right, I'm going to pause you guys right there, and I'm going to hope that you keep digging into that for the rest of the weekend. Because my hope was to finish this in 2 hours. That's in 9 minutes. We may not be done in 9 minutes. I want you to know it's being recorded. So if you have to jump off, just pay attention to what time it is and know that we started at 10, and you can fast forward through the YouTube video. I'll send it out to all of you guys after this call. But now it's time for your future board. Does everybody, I should have told everybody to do this in advance, but I didn't even think about it. You're actually going to start building your future board on Pinterest. So, does everybody did you take a picture of this? Okay. As long as everybody has a picture of this, let's see. Okay. Everybody's got a picture of this. So, that's going to be the basis. Those are going to be our categories. You're going to have those 5 different pages on your Pinterest. So here's where we really, first of all, we differentiated from just a gathering of your girlfriends making a dream board with a bunch of magazines, because we just dug into blocks. We dug into all kinds of things. We could do this for hours, you guys. It's actually, when I coach people one-on-one, it's a 10-week coaching session that we're powering through in 2 hours. So, here is something that's very, very different from dream boards. You may have noticed, or you may have done in the past, when you cut things out of magazines, a lot of people will cut words out or numbers. Here is why that doesn't work, is because a word really doesn't create a huge emotional drive in you, right? A number does not create a huge emotional drive in you. So we're really going to be digging into finding the right words. And here, take a picture of this. You're going to have actually 7 different pages on your Pinterest board. These are going to be their titles, because you're going to, and here's the beautiful thing, you guys, this can grow forever. And I will share with you, when I first made mine, how beautiful it is to, if you're having, I don't know if anybody else ever has a rough day, maybe only me, maybe whatever, but you have a couple options these days. First, I could travel. Oh, um, Gina, she's making cool clothes.
Christy,
I knew how to sew. Oh,
Christy,
you know what I'm saying?
you
Did I
froze.
freeze?
You
Yeah.
did. You froze it. You have a couple
Am I,
options.
you have, okay. It said I was unstable. Am I back now? Does it feel like I'm just
Yes.
flowing, or am I a robot?
You're flowing.
Okay. So you have a couple options during your day. One is, the example I was giving was scrolling on social media and being like, oh, look, Marlon's traveling. I wish I could travel like her. Oh, Gina's sewing cool clothes. I wished I knew how to sew. Those things, you're like, oh, okay. Or you know what you could do moving forward? You're going to go to Pinterest, and you're going to open the Pinterest board, and you're going to either look at your board, your master future board, or you're going to do a search like I'm going to show you, to start to find more things to put into your boards. Because you know what happens
You're freezing again.
at
You're
people
freezing
going to
again.
Greece? You know what I think happened? Am I frozen?
No, you're good now.
I think Andrew woke up and got on the internet and it's slowing it down. Hold on 1 second. Keep thinking of your list. If you don't have Pinterest, get Pinterest, log into Pinterest right now on your computers.
Way. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Give me just a few more minutes. All right. Exactly what a 13-year-old wants to hear. Get off your computer. Okay. So you can spend time. So what I was saying is if I go to my future board and I start looking at trips to Greece, do you know what I think of? I get happy. I'm like, oh, Rob and I are going to go to Greece. And wouldn't this be a neat place to stay? And oh, I want to go over here to this island where I was born. And oh, I wonder how much money I would need to earn a month for this. And then I can go on Airbnb and I can look up the cost of staying in one of those white cave like things. Turns out it's not near as much as you think. It's really the flight that's expensive. But do you see the difference in me doing that and just scrolling? So there's beauty, joy, inspiration found in your board. So I'm going to, let me see, share, let me see. This is why it's hung up. Okay, let me do, well, please get Pinterest up. Sorry. If you already have your Pinterest and you know how to create different boards, then you have your picture of what boards. Let's see. Sorry, I should have already been logged in. All right. Are you guys seeing my Pinterest board or my nothing? Hold on. Okay. Can you see my Pinterest board?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Is everybody familiar with creating a board? Or no, Gina's saying no. All right. So when you have a Pinterest account, let's see. Mine's a business one, but I think need to, sorry. Let's do this. Somebody give me, we're going to just start doing searches right now, and then I'm going to show you how you can save them. Does anybody have anything on their list that they would be willing to unmute and share with me? Because what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to really dig deep into Pinterest. And what you're going to do is you're going to find different pins that you save to your board. You're going to create on all the different boards. Let's just find one or two first. Does anybody have anything they're willing to share? If not, I
Trip to
can
Italy.
do
We're
it.
going on trip to Italy.
Trip to Italy. Do you have a place in particularly in Italy you want to go to?
No, I want to go.
Okay, so in my Pinterest search board, I put trip to Italy. Hold on. So, hold on, did it only pull, hold on. Hold 1 second. Pins. So make sure you're on all pins and not your pins, because your pins will just show you things that you have saved. Okay, Jennifer, was it you that said you want to go on a trip to Italy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
But I think you
so
have
when
tip to Italy and not trip to Italy.
oh, so it was telling me how to tip there when I eat food.
Not to do.
All right, so here are where other people have done, here's their travel things, right? Travel tips, travel books, travel whatever. What I want you to do, Jennifer, is tell me if in any of these pictures I'm scrolling up, you see a picture. Don't worry about what it says. You see a picture and you're like, oh, that's a part of Italy I want to go to. So there's like that greenery
Definitely
stuff.
the wine country and definitely the coast. Like I want to see both.
You want to see the coast. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on this one. And then what I'm going to do, should have practiced this last night because it's been a minute since I've done this. So then what I'm going to do, see this little Google Lens visual search at the top
Yes.
right? When I scrolled over the picture, can you guys see my mouse
Yes.
up here? Okay, right there. See that visual search? So I'm going to click that. Let's see. Select here. So I'm going to, it's letting me crop it over here on the side to go to a part that's like this coastal thing. Can you see that on the right-hand side of my screen?
Yes.
So what I'm doing is by doing that visual search, I was able to pull up a lot more pins and pictures that are similar to that. So are you thinking something like that where the city's right on the cliffs? Or are you thinking like the beach?
Both. I think both would be so pretty.
Okay, so we're going to put both on your board. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to find pictures where I didn't mean to do that. When you look at it, you're like, oh, I can't wait to go to Italy, right? So what is happening is that's driving me bananas. Why is it? Oh, here, I'm going to do this. Let me click on this one and see if it does something better. Image search, because this visual search was sending it to Google. This is sending different ones, but it will let you do any of these, Jennifer, just any of these jump out at you as like, it's kind of it. That's kind of what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. Which one?
I guess the one right under where it says image search. It's got like the land, it's got the little boat right there in the water on the
Right
left
here?
hand side. Yep. Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do with this, what I can just do is click save. It already wants to, it saved it to my mind and body, hashtag HBR, which is Hustle, Believe, Receive, which is Sarah Centrella's book. So that's kind of funny because I didn't even have it in that. But here's what else you can do. Now I clicked on that image, I can go even deeper. So maybe it's like that, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's a little different. You can keep digging by doing image searches. So it's like, oh, look at this one right here. It's like a cove goes through the cities. That's kind of amazing. So maybe I want that. And here it automatically went to mind and body. I should have caught it. But what I would do here is click on my arrow because I've already created boards again with my son's laptop. I don't know. Here are my different boards. It automatically wanted me to put it in mind and body. Andrew's future board. I have a lot of Pinterest boards, obviously. Affirmation, Andrew's, career and ambition. So like this is one of my boards because I have hashtag HBR behind it. You can tell. Future boards. Mind and body. We talked about that one. Passions and joys. So I would probably put it under my passions and joys because that's where my travel is. Right? Travel is a passion of mine. It brings me joy. So I would click on passions and joys. And then save it to there. So then when I go, I need to be able to find my boards. I'm trying to want to show you, for example, one of my, does that make sense of
Yes.
how you're digging? Let me also do, Jennifer, who would you go with?
Oh gosh, right now, my
girl
daughter.
or a boy? Who?
My daughter.
I'm sorry. Your
My daughter.
So I'm putting in the search bar, woman and girl on Italy beach. You know, we're probably not telling what I'm going to get in today's day and age, but, so like nothing that I'm loving as far as like you and your daughter. How old's your daughter? Probably not
7
going to
right
be,
now.
so
She's
it's not
7.
you two, it's not you two and a G-string on the front of a boat.
No.
Let me do this. Let me do mom and daughter. You see what I'm doing is I'm
Yes.
taking the time to play very specifically with what I want because that will bring up pictures. And once I start to find pictures that really hit home, where I'm like, oh, that's us. That's it. So like, you know, this one might be
Yeah.
great, but let me do an image search. So I'm going to do this image search. It's going to bring up, I'm going to make it to include, so you can tell it's on the coast. You can tell it's a woman and a little girl. And you can play with different images and you might be like, oh, this one right here looks like a dress that I would wear in Italy. This is my daughter. See what I'm doing?
Yes.
I'm really trying to be like, oh, yes, this one hits home. This is what I'm feeling like. If let's say, and I don't know, I'm making this up for anybody it might apply to. Let's say you want to go with your daughter and you're single, but you would like to have a spouse one day. Like this picture might be great because it doesn't have a man's face, but it's somebody who is loving your child and walking on the beach with you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I'm sharing that. I don't know if you're married or not married and you just like your daughter more than your husband. I don't know anything. What I
Single
know,
mom.
okay, so here's the thing is what I want is you guys digging so deep into pictures that when you look at this picture, let's say we did this, you kept digging, but along this vein, and you find, you know, I'm pretending, let's say your daughter has blonde hair and you have red hair. Again, I don't know. And like you could say, red-haired mom, blonde-haired daughter with dad on the beach. And pulling up pictures to the point where you're looking and you're like, here's what you want to happen. And what I have had multiple times is I have been in a situation where I've taken a picture and sometimes it's 2 weeks later and I'm like, I notice, like I look up at my future board and I'm like, I did that. like, oh my goodness, we actually took a picture just like that on the front of a boat and not planned. It wasn't like oh, let's recreate this. It's like this on my future board. No, where I'm like standing on the front of the boat with my husband doing a certain pose and not on purpose. And then seeing the picture on my future board that's almost identical. Like, because you have created it and looked at it in your head and you are manifesting going to Italy with the love of your life and your daughter and walking on the beach at sunset. Tell me what that feels like, because I know that's a lot and probably not what you expected to discuss on a future boards call, but that's where this is so much bigger than pictures in a magazine.
Mhm.
What do you
Definitely
think?
hits home. Yeah. I mean, having been a single mom for 6 years, it's, excuse me, it's definitely, on something that's on the heart. And one of the things that I wrote down. So that's kind of cool that you went there with it.
And I just want to open it up to the space of like, you guys, that really, what she and I just talked about doesn't have anything to do with money, right? It actually doesn't. It could be that that's where she spends her honeymoon. And and he loves her daughter so much that they all go as a family. We don't know. But if in her head she had blocked it because she's like, we can't afford to go to Italy, I'm not even going to write that down. Well, then it doesn't happen. She hasn't told the universe that, hey, she'd like to honeymoon in Italy with an amazing man who loves her daughter so much. Right? Okay, who has something else on their list that we can do a search for that I can just kind of show you more examples of what digging in, again, thinking outside of the box. You're not going to like just stop with one picture. You're going to dig. Like I can take, while you guys are deciding who's going to talk to me next, I'm just going to see what pulls up next. I'm going to do the search, visual search. I'm going to include pretty much all of it and that it's ocean. And then I'm going to let's just see what pulls up. Because one of them, Jennifer might be like, oh, that's exactly what I'm hoping for. See how me just doing an image search on one we automatically found pulls so many other similar but different, because one is really going to speak to her heart. And that's where the drive, the ambition, the hustle comes into play, because you look at that and you're like, oh, yeah, I deserve that. Who has something else that we can search for? Don't be afraid.
I'm struggling with what goes in the mind-body category.
Okay. Hold, please. Let
Okay.
me tell you. Thank you for asking that, because that can be confusing, and I have suggestions. And let me, all right. Mind and body. All right, so here are some things that are examples. Hey, hush. For example, you could have nutrition and healthy eating. You might have, sorry. Sorry. All right, they're going. Okay, so nutrition. So a sample search for nutrition might be healthy. And here's another tip. You can also add the word photography at the end of any of your searches. And it helps kind of move you away from like the websites or the blogs and more towards really beautiful imagery. So for example, you might put in your search bar, healthy, clean eating photography. in that same mind body category, it could be body and fitness. So these might be things that you enjoy doing to get physically fit, or a certain thing that you hope to achieve. For example, I would really like to be able to do pull-ups. I look at people that do pull-ups and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And you know what? People that do pull-ups, they just typically have the most beautiful back muscles ever. So true story, on my future board is literally a picture. I can probably pull it up here somewhere, is a picture of a woman's back. She's on a pull-up bar, you know, in this position, but it's just her back. And to me, every time I see that, I'm like, Christy, you really should practice on the pull-up machine at the gym, because that's a goal of mine. It isn't about her weight or anything. It is like, that is strong. People doing pull-ups are strong. So it could be yoga, boxing, running. It is going to probably be a picture or a man or woman, however you identify, doing the activity. And find photos of people who have the body type that you want, right? So I've always had what I named myself an athletic build. I have friends who are just always been thin. We joke that my rib cage could encompass their body with the skin on it, right? Like I just like we have. So what is a body type that you would like, you know? And look for something like that. Swimming with turtles. That's my animal time. Okay, we'll put that in, Crystal. Could be to hike. Yeah, experience what you want to work towards, walking a certain trail. So a sample search, Angie, might be woman running on the beach photography or whatever. It could be woman and female friends walking in the neighborhood photography. Like if you're trying to grow your neighborhood walking group, right? Mind. The mind is going to be things like things that recharge your mind. So meditation, reading, quiet, nature, sitting by a waterfall, yoga. You know, like yoga isn't relaxing to me. I spend the whole time going like, crap, I suck at this. So like, I'm not going to put yoga in my, you know, it does anyway. It's healthy and I should do it. But it could be daily devotion. So what this looks like on my board, this mind part, is I've never had, I feel like it's not true. It is an overview picture of multiple women sitting around a table, all looking at you can just see their hands like on their Bibles. So it's kind of like a like-minded Bible study group is what I envision it, what I want. So that's something that's on my mind. Embody board, a lady doing pull-ups, a going across the finish line at the Boston Marathon, right? Like I've firmly decided that I'm probably going to be 70 when my age matches the time limit you have to qualify for Boston Marathon. Doesn't mean I can't want it, right? And that reminds me, okay, you got to keep jogging. It's keeping your eye on the prize by something you really set your heart on fire. Does that make sense? Is that helpful in mind and body?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have questions about the other categories before I do another search? So like relationships, that board, that might be family, might be girlfriends, it might be love, might be a future husband, it might be a dream wedding. Let me talk about wealth and abundance for a second, because that might be hard also. A lot of people they're not comfortable with the wealth and abundance, but that's why we were doing some of the mindset blocks. But your wealth and abundance is truly like a luxury lifestyle. For example, mine, there is a picture of a family walking up the stairs onto a private jet. To me, that's just the epitome of luxury. You're taking a private jet. In my mind, I know that that jet is going to a vacation in Europe, because that's what I thought of when I chose that picture. Like, we're not having multiple layovers. We're not doing, like, we're getting on a private jet and we're going. That's like above and beyond luxury. right? So that's one that's on mine. That's something that I would like. It could be, so what you might search for, again, women dripping in diamonds, photography, adding photography at the end, a dream car. That search might look like vintage Land Rover photography, a jet setter, woman flying on private jet, woman on the front of a yacht, dream home. Dream search might be dream home, white exterior photography. So these are things like, that's kind of what wealth and abundance looks like. Passions and joys. On my board for passions and joys, I have a picture of fresh flowers on a kitchen counter because I love fresh flowers. And one of my things, I used to have it because it was available where I used to live. It probably is here. I haven't looked, but I had fresh flowers delivered each week because I just love fresh flowers. So that was something that passions and joys. Photography. If you love photography, a search might be woman taking pictures, photography. Cooking, woman cooking with kids, photography. Listen, I hate to cook. So on my wealth and abundance board is a chef in my kitchen cooking me food. I'm just sharing these things because these are ideas maybe you haven't thought of. Travel, woman riding a camel in Dubai, photography. That sounds hot as hell to me. I don't think I want to ride a camel in Dubai, but you might, right? Who has questions? I'm going to do a swimming with turtles search while you guys have questions. Unmute yourself. Anybody? Is this hitting home with anybody? Is this what you were hoping this would be?
So much more than I even imagined. Gee whiz.
Thanks, Jenna. You're the sweetest. All right. Women swimming with turtles. So again, it's like, what do you want your experience to be? This woman is legit. She's not even having to snorkel. I really like the idea of not having to snorkel to do it. That makes me happy. So I'm going to do I'm going to zoom in on her and see what else. Dang, snorkeling people. Okay, she's not. Oh, look how big they are swimming. I love sea turtles. Look at this. Holy moly. Totally saving that on my board. Okay, see how this is. So I'm going to save this. Right now, the category, you can see it automatically has it in, is homeschooling. This is not going in my homeschooling Pinterest board. It is going to go on passions and joys because that's my travel one. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to click that and it is saved to my passion and joys. I saw somebody said something. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Crystal. Crystal, talk to me about, do you want to snorkel? Do you want to have them walk up to you like this? Tell me what you're thinking. I'm also going to add photography to the end to see what happens.
Yeah, no, I love the photo you chose. I've been looking at different places in the world to swim with turtles, not snorkeling, just like the photo you had. So that's
Yeah.
awesome that that's what came up.
Isn't that great? All right, so here's another one. And my guess is when you dig into this search, you're also going to come across locations, right? Now, see, okay, look, I didn't touch my crop. So right now it thinks I want to find her swimsuit. This can also be a great way on Pinterest to find outfits. I don't actually want her swimsuit. I want her sea turtle. Where'd her sea turtle go? This is what I want. Whoa. That's what I'm looking for. So, It's bringing up just a lot of women floating. It's, hit or miss. This is just a lot of women playing in the ocean. I will tell you something that I have on my future board also. So that one wasn't a great one to search for, but we'll find other ones. Is I of course have gone on Emerald Extravaganzas, but I want more of my team with me in on a trip, right? So I have a picture on my board of women in cute sundresses hugging each other on a beach. To me, so when I look at that, I don't just see women standing on a beach in cute sundresses. What I see is, look at me with 6 people on my team that have earned this trip, that have become jewels and have earned this trip with me. Do you see kind of how you're wrapping your mind around pictures that evoke emotion? Does that make sense? And sometimes you got to dig, and that comes from you writing like lists of things that you want to come true. And then you search pictures like this. And now do you see why, instead of like playing games on your phone, going to Pinterest and dreaming can be so much more powerful? Like, what is this woman doing? Where did she go? Where she got to like hang out on the beach with sea turtles? Is that AI? Is that real? I don't know. That's pretty fantastic. And look at her. You see how this can be such a beautiful rabbit hole? I have now kept you for 2.5 hours. I apologize. What else? Do you need any more search or Pinterest help? Because I do want to share about 5 more minutes with you, if you can stick with me. But I want to make sure you understand this part, because what you're going to do, and feel free to reach out to me, but what you're going to do is you're going to have a board. I wonder if it'll show what is all on my board. I don't want to save it. I just want to see the board. It's got to be somewhere. It's trying to do my business board. But let's see. So here, you guys can tell Andrew's laptop is kicking my tail. Let me go back to this. All right. Are you seeing Pinterest? Or are you seeing my, what are you seeing? Angie, what are you seeing?
Canva.
Perfect. That's what I want you to see. All right. What's going to happen? You're going to have those 7 boards: relationships, create them. And you can see how I have a million Pinterest boards. So what I did was I did hashtag HBR. Again, to me, that stands for hustle, believe, receive. Do whatever you want to make sure. So you might have 50 pictures in your passions and joys board. What you're going to do is narrow that down to maybe 5 or 6 that you're going to put on your master future board. Then what you're going to do is you'll be able to click on each of those images. You'll be able to right click, save as. You can save the image to your computer, and then you can print it. If you need help with that, let me know. I can help you, but I think most of you know how to do that. You're going to save it, same as you would save, like if you did a Google search and you save the image to your computer and then you recreated something with it, only you're going to print it. And you're going to like scale it, because when you print, you can like decide what size you want to print it. You're going to print those, and you guys are actually going to put them on a board. And then you're going to put it somewhere where you can see it. Otherwise, oops, just kidding. Otherwise, you just wasted your whole Saturday morning, right? We don't want to waste your Saturday morning. We want you to change from this Saturday morning. So take a picture of this. Again, like I said, mine is in my laundry room because nobody else goes in there, really. And I spend a lot of time in there, I feel like. But it used to be in my office. And now in this new house, I don't have an office. I'm in the bedroom. So I chose not to put it up here. You put it up where it makes sense for you. Um, Now, next steps. Let's pretend we were together for 10 hours and you guys have already created your board. What's next? Get obsessed. This is the fun part, and this is where it starts coming to life, you guys. Create obsession. What does that look like? So, I love to read books. I was thinking last night when I was getting ready for this, um, what I used to do really well, and I haven't done as well, is read books about things on my board. And I decided last night, you know what I'm doing? It doesn't have to be a nonfiction travel book. It doesn't have to be a John Maxwell book. It can be. So I got to thinking and I was like, I cannot wait to go on the cruise to Alaska. And what popped into my head is, Christy, you need to find some books about cruises to Alaska. Again, it does not need to be like a Fodor's travel guide. I am willing to bet that there's at least 100 fiction books written where there's like a love story on a cruise to Alaska or a mystery, or, I'm going to read some books that are based in Seattle because that's where the first part of the trip is. I'm going to read some books. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like you're just kind of putting yourself there. When you want to travel to Italy, read books that are set in Italy, because what happens is you're going to start to visualize, you're going to start to go, oh, this bakery, I wonder if this bakery is real that she's talking about in Italy. Then you're going to go to Pinterest and you're going to do a search for like best croissants in Italy. I don't know. I'm making this up, but do you see how you become obsessed with things that are on your board? Watch movies like Eat, Pray, Love. Where was that? Where did she go? I don't remember. Like, if you want to travel and eat and, you're a foodie, watch Eat, Pray, Love. Look for other movies that are about that. If I'm not going to lie, one of the things on my board, it's been there for a hot minute. I literally have a picture of, if you are with Plexus and you've been with Plexus for a while, before we had all the lights and glamour at convention, there was like a big red back. It was red. It was a screen and it said Plexus in white. And it was one of the panels so there was like 6 chairs up there, but nobody's in them yet. And I have that picture on my future board because I would love to speak on stage at convention. When I look at that, I immediately know that's speaking on stage at convention, right? I would like to write a book. There's a picture on my thing of steps to start writing a book. And it's an image that was so pretty to me. So it's not the words, it's a book, and so really dig into what you want and then listen to podcasts. Listen to travel podcasts if travel's a thing. If speaking on stage is something you want, like watch some Ed Milet, watch some Tony Robbins. Like there's great documentaries. And it's not to learn to be like they are, but it's to be inspired by people that are doing what you want to do. It's putting your mind in those places so that you get so stinking excited about it. And then spend time looking at it every day and saying your affirmations around it. So when I look at mine, I can look at it and look, I'm not in front of it. It's downstairs, but I know what I will look at my board, and I've looked at it so many times. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to write and publish a book. I'm going to travel to lots of castles in Europe with my family. I'm going to take a private jet to Europe. I have a set of 4 girlfriends that I do Bible study and pray with once a week. I have a group of 5 jewels that have earned Emerald Extravaganza with me. I traveled to Greece and I walked down the white sidewalks, the white staircases by the ocean with my husband holding hands. I take my whole family to one of those huge huts over the water. I don't even know how humans get out to them, like in Bora Bora. Like, can you see me? Right. That's how many times I've looked at my future board that I can, without being in front of it, tell you everything. And I say those things out loud while I'm folding laundry. I am a good enough leader that Plexus asks me to speak on stage at convention. I am, and it's always I am, not I'm going to, or not I want, I am. I'm walking down white stairs along the ocean in Greece, holding hands with my husband. And you look at it so often and you put that into the universe, and then be aware for opportunities that show up. You have no idea where opportunities are going to show up. I was coaching a woman. She put on we were living in Fort Lauderdale at the time. This is how bananas it is. We were living in Fort Lauderdale at the time. She used to live in New York City. We were going through things and she goes, you know what? We were on one of our coaching calls and she goes, this just popped into my head last night and I don't know where it came from. And I said, well, what is it? And she goes, I want to run the New York City Marathon. And I'm a runner, so I know how hard it is to do that. Not the 26 miles, but to get an entry to run it. And she said, I really want to do that. And I said, okay, let's put it on your board. Let's start speaking it to the universe. And she said, okay. True story. 2 weeks later, we're on another coaching call and she says, you are not, and here's what I did. I said, here's what I want you to do. Start looking for the universe to give you signs. She had not even jogged a mile at this point. I said, look for like ads to pop up with good running shoes. Look for opportunities to go jogging with somebody or go for a walk. She said, okay. The next week on our call, she goes, this is the weirdest thing. I actually got a postcard mailer in the mail for 30% off buying shoes at this like local shoe store that was in our town. She goes, so I went and I tried on shoes and I got some running shoes. I just felt like the universe was saying, buy the shoes. And I said, that's awesome. Then she was next week, we're on a call. She says to me, this is crazy. And I said, what? And she said, I'm at this big networking thing for real estate agents. I happen to be talking to one of the real estate agents that was in town visiting from New York. And I said, this is the craziest thing, because she did Peloton. She did tons of biking stuff. And she said, I don't even know how it came up. She said, he said something about New York. We talked about where I used to live in New York. And she said, out of the blue, I just said to him, she goes, you know what's so funny? I haven't been to New York in a couple of years, but I just decided I want to run the New York City Marathon. She goes, I don't even run. And he said, do you really want to do that? And she goes, well, yeah, but it's going to be years because it's so hard to get in and qualify and this and that. And he goes, our company, they work for the same real estate conglomerate. He said, our company gets 10 entries a year because we sponsor. Do you want one of them? And she said, are you kidding? And he said, no, you guys, you can't get in. Like it's a lottery. It's a lottery that hundreds of thousands of people apply to get into the New York City Marathon. She had 2 weeks before thought to herself, like, I remember living there and watching people run through the city. And that was so cool. I'd like to do that one day. Then the next week she buys her shoes because she gets a coupon. And the next week she randomly mentions it to a guy that lives there. And he gives her one of the 10 spots that this ginormous company has because she said she wanted to do it. That, you guys, is what manifestation is. It is that powerful. It was not about her training hard, her being in the lottery for years, her having enough money to bypass anything. It was about her telling the universe she wanted it and then mentioning it to the right people. That is what you're going to do. So remove the option to quit. Take a picture of this. Realize that you actually have to put in the work, right? You're not going to walk across the stage as a diamond if you don't actually tell the humans that you sell Plexus, right? You have to work. Let's see. Crystal says, confirmation of where my heart has been the past few weeks. Perfect. Like I'm so grateful that you guys have stuck on. We're over 2.5 hours. I apologize. Be relentless. Do not give up. You guys, for 6 years, that picture of the Plexus stage with the empty microphone and empty chairs have been on my board. It's going to be on there, y'all, till I talk on stage. I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm going to keep doing the things until that happens. I haven't gone to Greece yet with my husband. It's on there. But I do have many, many things on past future boards that have come off. That's why I had to redo my board, because so many of the things had to come off. Like, failure is not an option. It just hasn't happened yet. Be patient. Be patient. Do the work. Be aware of the universe dropping signs for you, and be ready to take advantage of those opportunities. Write it down, journal about it, write your affirmations based on your vision board. Say the things, do that. Don't forget, I mentioned about doing the abundance meditation. Fall asleep to it. My husband used to be like, what this guy crap you're listening to? And I kept thinking to myself, he's going to start like having more abundance just because he has to listen to it while I fall asleep. You know, shout out to husband thinking I'm bananas. It was amazing. Write it down. Keep the faith. Don't give up on yourself. Take a picture of this. Again, you don't know where the opportunities are going to come from. But when you speak life to things that you want to happen, you'll be blown away by opportunities that come. The picture I was telling you guys about, where Rob and I are standing on the front of a yacht, hugging at the point of it. And when I realized that was on my board a couple of weeks later, I was like, what? They happened to be somewhere where somebody I know was like, hey, this is so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. We're going to, you know, she was saying something about something they were going to do the next week. And I was like, oh, you know, that'll be fun. So nice to meet you. And then literally they were like, do you want to come? And I was like, okay. And they're like, we're just going to go out on our boat, you know, for a few hours, maybe go have lunch. I'm like, okay, that'll be fun. Checked on our calendar. We didn't have it was not like a little boat. It was a big ass yacht that, and literally the picture looks just like the picture I had on my board. It took 3 years. Cool. Cool. I kept looking at it, and all of a sudden it was there, and it was free. It was free, you guys. It's amazing. All right. Here's how to know if it's a manifestation. Is it something you asked for? Something you want? Does it feel familiar? Does it make you feel excited with butterflies and just like, oh, I'm doing this. This feels good to me. Like when you're looking at the pictures, like, I love sea turtles. I've seen a million pictures of sea turtles and snorkeling. I don't love snorkeling. I've done it multiple times. I don't love it. But when I saw that picture of that lady standing there and sea turtles swimming up to her, I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like, I know I was searching for somebody else, but did you see I added that to my board? I would like to do that. That looks amazing. This was somebody else's board. Way too many words. Look at those words. Do those words give you any indication of what's setting their hearts on fire? Do they bring you any emotion? That's why we don't use words. Words do not evoke emotion. Here is my old one. Multiple, you guys can just kind of glance through it to see what 1, 2, 3. Many of those have already happened, and I have new boards downstairs. But that just gives you an idea of what one looks like. It doesn't need any words. It doesn't need anything. This right here, if you see that blue circle show up, that's just a microphone pointing out to the stage, because I want to speak on a stage. Over here, this is the one I was telling you about, the Plexus thing. You know, it's just, here is my girl gang of Jules on my team. Listen, I have lots of pictures of me and other Jules looking cute as can be on the beach. That's not what this picture is to me. When I look at that picture, that's my team. Here's the girl with the pull-ups, right? So that is what it can look like what questions do you guys have? How do you feel? Have we done good? Like somebody talk to me and tell me, is this what you were looking for? Is this helpful? Angie, you were my biggest, this needs to happen, so I don't want to let you down. Yeah,
Yeah, this has
Marlon,
been,
is that
stop
good?
apologizing for going over time.
Okay, I feel bad, but
Don't. Stop apologizing.
Marlon, what do you have to add? I love you always have
I
something
have
to
a
add.
very, very funny haha, because I'm single. Most of you know that. And I'm okay with being single. I'm learning to travel on my own and become my best friend. And then I'm getting, as we're talking about this, I'm getting a friendship request. I just thought that, should I say yes?
As
Probably
long as
not.
he's for real.
I think he is worthy of blocking, but I'm like, for a moment, I'm like, can I just take like 2 seconds and just manifest like maybe one day a real person will actually ask me to be
Yes.
friends, right?
Yes. Yeah,
But it
they
was just like,
exist.
I'm like, oh, who wants to be my friend? But that's like you said, that's how easily it's gonna happen. But I feel like this person is probably worthy of blocking, but I'll look into it. How about
He might,
that?
yeah, if he's for real, he might be pretend. He might be for real. Um, but don't be afraid to ask the universe for what you want. Don't be, for those of you that are single that would love, have a full list of everything that you want in somebody that loves you. If you are divorced, write the list of things that you didn't love in that relationship and then flip them to things that you want. So often we get scorned in bad situations and we're like, oh, we're never going to do that again. When reality, use that to manifest what you really know that you want. What do you want in your travel? What do you want in your career? What do you want in friendships? Put yourself in circles where you get invited to go on a yacht for a day. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't need to have $5 million to buy a yacht. I just knew somebody that knew somebody, and I was nice. Nice people get invited to do things. It's really pretty magical. I am so grateful that you guys have taken the whole beginning of your weekend to do this. I hope that you will spend time, not let this just be like in one ear, out the other, but instead of playing games on your phone or thumbing, start building those Pinterest boards right now so that you can print it and put it up. But also, like Marlon's traveling, she doesn't have but you have your phone and you're going to have things to inspire you with all the time. You could make it your background. There's a million things. You guys, don't let the things that popped up in your heart today, I don't think they're accidents. I think you were open-minded, you were open-hearted, you showed up, and that is when the universe is able to go, oh, you focused on you for 3 hours. That's a beautiful thing for females to do, and allow that to flourish in you, because as you flourish, you help more amazing people and amazing women to flourish and do great things as you're doing it, because you're setting an example. You don't even know who you're setting the example for right now, but as you do it, you will be leading other people, your daughters, your granddaughters, your sisters. So be amazing and reach out to me for anything. I will, if it's okay with you guys, I will get this uploaded, and then it will get sent out to all of you guys in case you need it or you need reminders or anything. It'll be there. Kristen, did you have something to share? You unmuted and now we see you.
No, I'm good. I'm not a Plexus person,
Okay.
but there was a lot shared today that I, absolutely relate to, in my business. And so it was very informative. Thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to any future, things that can happen. You never know. I'm a big fan of Marlon. I love her to death.
Fantastic,
So
isn't she? Well,
yes,
I
she
am
is. She is
so
the best.
glad Thank you so much for joining us. And that was my hope, is that regardless of how you earn your income or how you spend your time or hours or anything, that you are inspired to just, do more of what makes you happy and keep reaching
Absolutely.
for more things and great opportunities.
Yes. Thank you very
Yes. Well,
much, Christy.
thank you. Thank you guys so much.
you.
I appreciate you all so much. And I hope that you have a fabulous weekend. I can't wait. Send me some of your pictures and ideas. I just want to see what you guys are doing. I would love to um, see what you've been inspired by today. Okay.
I will indeed. Yes.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.